Okay, now let's try to share my screen again. This worked rather nice yesterday. Starting slide.
Yes, we do.
Okay, fantastic.
But you can, you know, because you are having the presentation view right now that you are sharing, you can share the normal slide as well, not the presentation view.
Is it this one?
No, when you are making the screen share,
Yeah.
you have to choose the other PowerPoint view.
Okay, let me see. I am Andreas Grabitz. Please, if you have any questions to me, just say Andy. I think it's easier for most of you than to pronounce Andreas. That's a bit complicated. I'm Andy. I'm working for Eurofins since 2005, so since roughly 16 years now. I've been involved in different functions within Eurofins, and since 2018, so around 2 years now, I'm heading the Department of Packaging Materials in Hamburg. So I'm located in the northern part of Germany, which now go a bit more into the detail of the packaging itself and to the requirements which are addressing the packaging itself, not the labeling, but the performance and the characteristics of the packaging. Actually, the GSO 2231. This is the general requirements for food contact materials, and this is very, very, very similar to the 1935 from 2004, the European Framework Regulation. We will see a lot of parallels between these Gulf standard and the European Framework Regulation. So even the definition, if you see here, materials brought into contact with food and materials which are already in contact with food. What you don't see here, and this is something I want to highlight, what you don't see here is the third paragraph, which we have seen yesterday in the 1935, that also any materials which may transfer or can reasonably be expected to transfer substances to food. This is not in GSO 2231. So all of these discussion about secondary packaging or about the napkins or something like that, so materials from which we know they are not intended, they are not in scope of the GSO standard. So that's really a significant difference. The antiques are not mentioned in the 1935, okay, but that's probably not the most important issue. Covering or coating materials which can be consumed together with the food, they are by definition in the European Union a part of the food, so of course not covered by the packaging legislation. And fixed and private water supply equipment, so water tubes and so on, they are also excluded. This is the same as we have it in Europe. So they are also not part of the food packaging legislation. The item 3.1 or the article 3.1 says that such materials and articles shall be manufactured in compliance with the GMP process, not to endanger human health, change in the composition of the food, deterioration in the organoleptic characteristics. But it shall not apply to the fixed or private water supply equipment. This is what we have learned yesterday from Article 3 of the Framework Regulation. It is absolutely the same. So GMP in place, not endanger human health. This is the toxicity of a substance or of a chemical. No change in the composition. This is what we understood yesterday as the overall migration limit, and the deterioration in organoleptics, or the smell and taste of the food, is also covered here in the Saudi Arabian standard. In Article 3, we have something which we did not discuss yesterday in detail, to be honest. This is about active and intelligent packaging. I think this is worth a short explanation. So what is active materials and articles? This is the definition from the standard. So active materials means a material or article which is intended to extend the shelf life So this is a packaging. I have here a schematic drawing. This is a meat tray with a closing lid. And within the closing lid, we have incorporated an antioxidant, and the antioxidant is slowly penetrating into the headspace. So the film is over a couple of days releasing an antioxidant into the headspace of the packaging, and this antioxidant is reducing the degradation of the meat. So here is one picture which I took from a presentation about active packaging materials, and you can see here this is a tray, such a meat tray here, in which such an antioxidant was incorporated, and below here this is a comparative tray that was filled at the same day with the same meat, and after a couple of days without the antioxidant release, you can see it becomes a bit gray, degraded. It is not really, probably it is suitable still to consume, but it is not very tasty and looks not very nice anymore. So this is the principle. Active packaging is extending the shelf life, improves or preserves the condition of a packed food. This is active. Intelligent materials and articles are materials, of course, they are not intelligent, that's clear, but they are intended, or they have a functionality which can monitor the conditions of a food. So you can see, is the food still fresh, or is it already deteriorated? This is from the same publication, a picture. This is a melon. Never mind the melon. If this is aging, if it becomes old, then melons release carbon dioxide as a degradation gas. And this intelligent packaging material has a color spot in it, and the color spot is green if there is only very, very small carbon dioxide in. And if the concentration of carbon dioxide is increasing, then this colorant is turning to yellow. And everybody can see, this is an example here. This was melon packed in a tray with a closing lid. And here we have a green spot. The green spot tells me, okay, the melon is fresh. It is proper to be eaten. And at day 2, we see here the same spots turned to a red spot, which is clearly indicating, ooh, here the melon is already aged and it is not suitable to be consumed anymore. Another example is this one. This is a poultry, probably chicken meat or something like that. And here we have a color indicator. And the color indicator on the left side show me that here this chicken breast was stored all the time under refrigerated conditions, and it is suitable to be eaten. While this one here, this temperature indicator shows me, oh, this is yellow here, and yellow means there was an interruption in the cool chain, and the interruption of the cool chain may lead to a deterioration of the breast, and the chicken might might not be suitable for consumption anymore. So these are 2 typical examples what intelligent materials and articles could be. As mentioned, they are of course not intelligent, but they show the consumer in the supermarket, in the stores, whether the food is still suitable to be consumed, or whether something went wrong and the food is not fit for consumption anymore. So coming back to the GSO standard 2231, here the item 3 says that active and intelligent packaging material are allowed, yes, and we observe in Europe that active and intelligent packaging slowly increase, so we have more and more of these products in the market. It is not really a large boost, I would say. So we have some which are in the market. But here in Europe, it is not that the situation that we have hundreds of active and intelligent packaging in the stores, but it becomes slowly more. So I think it is getting an increased relevance. The active and intelligent materials should not mask a spoilage of food. So this is, of course, exactly the contradiction of what the intention of intelligent materials. It should show the spoilage of a food and not mask it. And you must identify to the consumer that this active and intelligent material is non-edible, of course. And this is also exactly the same, I would say the same spirit. It is not the same wording, but it's the same spirit as we have it in Article 4 of the framework regulation. So if you are in line with an active or intelligent packaging with the EU or with GSO, you are also in line with the other area. And the standard also authorizes the development of specific measures. So it is the GSO standard says that for certain types of materials, the standardization bodies should release specific measures, like we have it, for instance, for the plastics. This is what we have seen yesterday in the EU, and today we will learn this also for the Saudi Arabia, for the Gulf area, and this is comparable to Article 5. So nothing really new. In item 4, we have the labeling requirement. So you for sure know the glass and fork symbol, which is also required in the EU. So this is identical to Article 15. So here we have the same label, and comparable to Article 17, which we have also seen yesterday. You must ensure a traceability requirement at all stages in order to facilitate control, recall, and defective products, consumer information, and attribute of responsibility. So traceability is a mandatory requirement not only in the EU but also in the Gulf area. But this is what we discussed yesterday already. I think traceability is something self-explaining in terms of HACCP concepts and in terms of responsibility of you as a manufacturer of packaging materials. You should have a traceability system in place. What we miss in the GSO standard, that's also an interesting situation. We don't have something like Article 16 in the EU Regulation 1935. So there is no legal requirement for a declaration of compliance in the Gulf area. So my experience, my impression here from far away from the Gulf area, so from Central Europe, my impression is a bit that the declaration of compliance is quite common also in the Gulf area, so Saudi Arabia and so on. The manufacturers of packaging materials are used to prepare DOCs for the customers, and what our impression is also that the customers require the declaration of compliance. But from a legal point of view, the situation is quite clear. There is no legal demand to prepare a DOC for your products. That's a really large difference between the Saudi Arabian area and the European Union. We have in Annex 1 absolutely the identical list of materials which we have in the European Union framework regulation. This is absolutely identical. So for these materials, the GSO says that specific measures can be prepared, but we have even less materials for which this is the case in the GSO area compared to the European situation. Yeah, that's it for GSO 2231. This is, so let's say, overall, it is very, very comparable to the framework regulation. So it is a very fundamental regulation defining requirements for all types of food contact items in the Gulf area. We have myself again and my team. And Natalia, I think we have a bit more of time. If there are questions, I'm more than happy to answer if possible.